S.H.FIGUARTS Dragon Ball Super Superhero Son Goku was released on the 28th of May as a regular over-the-counter release and retails for 3,800 yen or roughly $35 US. Goku is the second release in Tamashii's wave of superhero figures based on the upcoming Dragon Ball superhero movie, with Vegeta and Ultimate Gohan to follow in consecutive months. If you missed Superhero Piccolo, the first figure in the wave, you can find the review up on my channel. As per usual, I picked up Goku right here in Japan, but all of your online retailers should be shipping him out very soon if they haven't already. So let's get the obvious out of the way because I'd really like to focus on what's different and what I think makes this release essentially worthwhile. Even if you own 100 Gokus by now, and I'm sure some of us actually do, yes, this is the Saiyan Raised on Earth body, or I guess more accurately, Super Saiyan Full Power, whatever you want to call it, but it is the tried and true 2.0 mold, which we have all come to know and love, with the deeper V cut and the front bow belt. What's different this time around is the deco, which is probably one of my favorite color schemes to date. It is very similar to the Super Saiyan God color setup. The gi is a bright, vibrant orange and I guess more of a yellow color than red, layered over an equally vibrant blue, which is very accurate to the movie art and I think is a nice contrast to the original Saiyan Raised on Earth release, which is more of a darker, I guess more muted color. We do get some shading around the legs and torso, but unfortunately it doesn't carry over to the back of the figure, much like many of Tamashii's recent releases. The skin tone is also a lighter shade to, I guess, match the overall color tone of the gi, with slightly lighter blue wristbands and boots and yellow laces to recreate this very movie-inspired look. The logos are also different, a little larger on the chest, but slightly smaller on the back. But the main difference is, of course, the new head sculpt, which uses the same hair design, but completely changes the look of the figure with the movie-inspired faceplates. For me, these new faces are definitely a step up from the Saiyan Raised on Earth release, which to date is probably one of my least favorite head sculpts. It's not to say that the faces are bad for the original release, but for me, they were always just too generic and lacked any kind of character, I guess, which is probably why so many customizers used this sculpt for so many non-Goku customs. It can pretty much work for any character that has that basic generic male facial features. These new faces absolutely scream the artwork Superhero Goku is based on, and whilst Goku 1.0 still remains my favorite base form Goku, this new release definitely comes in at a strong second place. Like I've mentioned many times before, the effort I feel Tamashii are putting in trying to recreating the artwork of the anime style of each character with these new head sculpts has really been one of the best things about all of their recent releases. We get 4 faces in total, and you can really see just how much expression each one has when compared to the Saiyan Raised on Earth release. They didn't really include a stern face for Goku this time around. Instead, Tamashii opted to go with a smirking, confident, let's get ready to fight face, which I think they pulled straight from a scene in the movie, as well as the other faces, as a matter of fact. And I really do think that we will see Goku with these particular expressions at some point in the superhero movie. In singing all of its praise and saying just how much I love these faces, I think in the end, how much you guys will actually like them will pretty much depend heavily on whether you like the new art style or not. But to me, these sculpts are faithful to the source material, and Tamashii absolutely killed it in terms of translating this specific look of the animation to plastic form. In terms of quality control and QC issues, I don't know how many times Tamashii have actually used this mold, but with any mold, there is always a chance of quality degradation the more times you use it. So far, for my copy at least, the sculpt work is sharp as ever and the plastic quality feels pretty good for the most part. I know the Super Saiyan Full Power release felt a little soft and gummy around the joints, and while the plastic doesn't feel as stiff as the Saiyan Rise on Earth figure, the joints still feel a little bit on the softer side, like they, I guess, used some kind of different softer plastics. But in saying that, nothing is loose or feels cheap, it's just that it feels different. With my copy, all the joints are holding up. They feel nice and solid, and I haven't had any problems so far. Alright, so let's take a look at the articulation, and it really isn't anything new here. If you have any of the 2.0 bodies, then you're gonna know what you're getting yourself into, and it's basically the same thing. But, you know, there are always new collectors, and if this is your first 2.0 Goku, then I'm gonna run through it. Let's get started. So the head, Goku can move up his head about that much, and the head and the neck are on independent pieces. So that does help. He does move his head down. Not too far down, actually. Even with that bit of neck articulation there. You get side to side swivel, of course. And some left and right tilt. We do get butterfly joints, which do help Goku perform his Kamehameha, of course. They're not as good as Super Saiyan 4 Goku. They've kind of updated the articulation since, but still useful. We get 360 rotation at the shoulders. Goku does have these, I guess, shoulder pieces there attached via ball joints onto his actual shoulders. So these gi pieces here. There we go. And he can get his arms. It's a little bit tricky, but he can get his arms about that far out, probably a bit more. You do get upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and hinges and swivels at the wrist. With Goku's torso, you can actually pull it up to get him to have just a bit more ab crunch. Bends back about that much. And you do have a little bit of swivel, a little bit of, I guess, leeway. It is a ball joint there in the middle of his torso, so he can move around and around. And of course, you do have your waist swivel there as well. So the thing about the 2.0 leg articulation is that it doesn't have, like Super Saiyan 4, that kind of like butt flap, I guess you could call it. Well, the way that it's sculpted, I guess you can kind of call it a butt flap, and that doesn't restrict Goku from kicking it backwards. So the 2.0 body does do a full splits forward and back, and he does actually kick out really well side to side as well. You do get the upper thigh cut, and before I forget, his belt here is on a swivel, the front part here, so you can move it in any direction that you want. And going back to the legs, he does have double jointed knees, swivels there at the boot, the ankles there. He does have toe articulation. It does move down and up, and while I guess the ankle pivot there is decent, I do prefer the newer setup, which has the bigger ball hinge there with the Super Saiyan 4 figure. If you have that figure, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, check out my Super Saiyan 4 review. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's a much better alternative than having a dumb ball joint with a ball peg going up and into his, I guess, boots. I much rather prefer them do that. So hopefully, I don't know, maybe when they update a 3.0 Goku,
a base form Goku, we'll get that set up as well. But until then, this is what we have. And it's pretty decent articulation. And again, this is the tried and true 2.0 Goku body, which is still very well articulated and very fun to pose.
So it's pretty bare bones in terms of accessories. We don't get an energy effect, and we get even less hands than before. Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku came with a right saluting or waving hand, which is left out of this release. So if you have any other Goku in your collection, you'll know exactly what you're getting into. And to be honest, I really hope Tamashii update these hands because I've never been really a fan of them. The new faces do make up for it, and again, we do get 4 in total, with the open mouth shouting face probably being my favorite, although I really do like the scared kind of surprised face as well, which is I think based on the 1.0 extra faceplate as well. But yeah, I probably like the shouting face probably the most. So if you're a collector like me who will probably buy any and every Goku release Tamashii puts out, you'll probably be pretty satisfied with this one too. Again, the new faces and the new paint scheme are what really makes this guy worthwhile, especially if you like the new art style from the upcoming movie or just appreciate the subtle differences between each figure. I know some of you will pass on this one, but I think if you really want that movie accuracy, this is definitely something you want to pick up. Yes, the faces are specific to the movie art, but I think it could definitely work as a generic base form Goku. I like the colors a little bit better, and if you don't have the 1.0, which for me is still my go-to base form Goku, I think this is a great second choice. I personally am kind of done with the 2.0 body, mainly because of the hands and ankle articulation, but I'm pretty sure we will see a 3.0 Goku sometime in the near future, since we already have a base for it with the new upcoming Ultimate Gohan. I kind of wish that this Goku would have used that newer 3.0 body. I think it would have been a perfect chance to introduce a new Goku mold. But I guess I can see how Tamashii would want to use a newer body for a more general Goku release. And when I say general, I mean not specific to a certain art style like the new movie is. What I would totally be down for is if they used the new 3.0 body with the unannounced Super Saiyan 2 Goku they teased a couple of years back. That would be my ideal Super Saiyan 2, but I don't think Tamashii would ever get around to doing it, and if they did, it would probably be on the 2.0 body. But hey, who knows? Goku is more or less the same as every Goku we've gotten in terms of setup, which isn't a bad thing, but again, if I haven't reiterated this enough, the faces and new paintwork are beautiful, and it's a figure that I found myself liking a lot more than I thought I would. I am really looking forward to Vegeta, which is probably my second most anticipated figure in this wave, so make sure you come back for that one as well. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Likes and comments are always appreciated. If you want to see any other comparisons, or if you want to see any other, I guess, head swaps with this figure, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to post something on my Instagram account, so make sure you follow me there as well. Take good care of yourselves out there, and as always, yoroshiku!